ensconced in futility, working toward mortality, ignoring finality. Wreckage mounds. Identifying your own soul becomes impossible.
Right. So, go in here.
Is
Make sure everything's good. Should be good. All right. Oh, hey, Myra. How are you today? Doing well, I hope. Yeah, so, let's see. What do we got? So yeah, I suppose last week I did mention that I was going to take a hiatus from all of this. Just because I had a lot of stuff going on and it's getting to be the end of the last kind of third of the semester, and I've got a book thing and a LinkedIn Learning thing, and it's just a remodel thing, and it's all kind of like crazy. But I figured, you know, I can squeeze this stuff in here and there. So I'm thinking that the time will probably change in a couple of weeks. Because I have I need to change things, right? So I think there's probably like 1 or 2 more weeks at this time slot, and then we'll switch it up a little bit as like schedules change and things like that. Finishing up my tea here. Don't want your tea to get cold. So yeah, Firefly. So actually, I mentioned this to my students yesterday in class, and we did like a quickie little demo of it. But yeah, I mean, this is what kind of spurred me on to think like, hey, maybe I shouldn't take hiatus just yet, you know, if I don't need to, because there's cool stuff going on like Firefly. So I have Firefly open here. I have pasted the URL into the announcements. I'm not sure where that shows up for everybody, so I'm going to pop it into the conversation chat too. So if you've never been on one of my streams, so I do these weekly on behalf of Adobe for Education. There's a group of us who stream regularly, and yeah, maybe we'll post that if I can find it. There is a link that has everybody's schedule on it. And I think I just found it, so bear with me. There we go. So yeah, this is the AEL streaming schedule.
cycle of despair.
Boop. There we go. So yeah, that gets updated every once in a while as people's times change, right? So before we get into Firefly, I do want to mention I've got some activity around my latest book, which is Mastering Adobe Animate 2023. If you go to my Twitter, this is going to go live tomorrow. So here's my Twitter for anyone who wants to check it out. The publisher wants to do some little like giveaways and things like that. So what we're going to do is tomorrow I'm going to post sort of a announcement about giveaways for the book. So if you're interested in getting a copy of Mastering Adobe Animate 2023, there is an opportunity coming up over the weekend. It's going to be open for until Monday, and then it's going to close out, and we'll pick some random people to receive either print or digital copies of this book.
No one can touch us.
And thankfully, this is almost spring break here. So this is my last week before spring break, and yeah, got a lot of stuff to do on spring break, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But anyhow, so who else is on the stream? I do pay attention to the chat, so if you do say hi, I say hi back. It's only polite. So I don't know if Myra's still here, but yeah, have you gotten a chance to play with Firefly yet? Anybody in the stream, including... Let me know. Myra says not yet. Yeah. So Firefly's pretty neat. I've played with, and I've got a couple of, what are they called? Like replays on Behance that have like other experiments that I've done with generative AI. I don't think I did any Midjourney because I did use Midjourney for a while, and that was my favorite for some time. But Midjourney is like once you're past your credits, it's a subscription service and everything, so it's not exactly free like a lot of the others are. I've tried DALL-E 2. I've tried Crayon, of course, which is really easy to get into. But yeah, Firefly is pretty cool. It works a bit differently. So if you go to the Firefly site here, let's just do a quick overview. There's kind of two things you can do right now. You can do a text to image, which is, you know, what Midjourney and the rest do right now. And then you have these text effects that are pretty cool. It works almost like some of the in-painting stuff that you have in other applications where you specify, you know, a portion of the image that you're using, and then you say like, you know, what you want to see in there. So you tell it like, oh yeah, I want to see a lobster firing a cannon or something, right? And it'll paint it into that place. I think this is how they're doing the text effects here, because it kind of uses the text as a placeholder for where the imagery should go, and then it kind of populates it. It's pretty neat. So we'll see both of those, because those are the two that are actually active right now. You can see there's other things here like recolor vectors. And this is one thing that I do really like about Firefly, as opposed to some of these others, you know? A lot of the other stuff that I have used just does text to image and in-painting and out-painting and things like that. Here we're getting into some really interesting things that could, you know, be actually like very useful across a lot of the Creative Cloud applications, like recoloring vectors. And if you scroll down on this page, you can see even more stuff. So they have in-painting coming, of course. So this is kind of how you do in-painting, right? Replacing objects. Personalized results, that's cool because, you know, a lot of stuff, you know, you're looking for a certain look when you go through this, and if you can't get it, it's kind of frustrating, and it'd be nice if it could be tailored. So it looks like that's what they're doing here. Text to vector is kind of interesting. I imagine this is sort of like text to image, right? Except instead of creating bitmap images, it's creating vector content, which is pretty neat because, of course, vectors you can manipulate quite a bit more than just simple images. So extending images is what's known in a lot of things as outpainting. So you're just like expanding what's out the borders. 3D to image is pretty interesting, and they've got a couple of things around 3D in here. Text to pattern, text to brush. So I guess you describe what you want your brush to look like. Sketch to image. Now sketch to image is pretty cool. And like Stable Diffusion has this. I've used that with Stable Diffusion before, where you've got one image and you want to generate another image based on that image, right? So that's sort of this, and then text to template. I'm not sure what that's all about, but that doesn't sound very interesting to me. Sorry, Firefly. But I know there's other 3D stuff because they show it in some of the videos, right? material generation and things like that for things like Stager and Dimension and Designer and all the rest. So let's have a look at both of these. And again, this is probably going to be a very short stream today, but that's okay. I like to keep them short. Let's do text effects first, simply because with text effects, you know, it's something that's new. It's something that I haven't seen with any other of these AI generators. So this tripped me up a little bit at first. It shows you these little previews here from what people have been working on. Oh, that's toast. That's kind of cool. Toasted bread. So you can add in your text here that you want to show up. This is the text that's going to be like what you fill in with the imagery, right? So let's go crazy here. I'm going to say absinthe, right? Anybody who's watched my streams know that that's not actually crazy. I'm being funny about it, right? So describe the text effects you want to generate. Let's see. Cloudy, green, brownish, fluid, dripping. I don't know. Right. So cloudy, green, brownish, fluid. That sounds disgusting, doesn't it? Let's go ahead and generate and see what shows up. All right, so it shows us a little placeholder, and then, oh, yeah, that is kind of gross. All right, so it's done its work, and we can rate the result up or down. We've also got some controls up here, some different options. So we can submit it to the gallery. We can copy it to the clipboard, which is super useful, or we can just like download the thing, right? So down below here, just like with, you know, all these other types of generative AI, you get variants. So if I click on any of the variants, it will apply sort of different variant models to this. They really didn't take cloudy. Let's get brownish out of there. And actually, this is one of the cool things too about Firefly, is that it's really easy to make a lot of changes. It looks like candle wax. It does not look like absinthe at all. Cloudy green fog. That might... Yeah. Yeah, melted minty chocolate. Let's see what we can get here. Cloudy green fog. Oh, wow. That's kind of interesting. It looks like it's sort of like blooming, like blossoming. This is better. Actually, this one at the end here looks... Because when you prepare absinthe, it clouds up, you know? You get like these like poofs and trails, and like you get clouds in the glass before it all kind of becomes opaque. Yeah, that's pretty good. That result's good. I like it. Closely matches the requested style or theme. Yes, very good. Thank you. So, let's see. Text effect fit. I don't think I've played with this. Maybe I haven't seen this before. These up top here is just like sample effects. So it's like... oh yeah, light green. That's a great idea. Alright, let's do that. Cloudy light green fog. Yeah, and with these things, like, the more specific you can be, generally, the better the results are going to be, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. And you can see here, loose, so I've got, like, wisps and clouds coming out there. Let's try another variant. Yeah, and this is exactly how, you know, you work with basically all these image generation AIs, right? You just sort of, like, put in your initial prompt, you put in some descriptors, which we should actually probably look at that. Yeah, we don't have a lot of control here. The text fit. Let's make that medium. Put it a little tighter. And let's look at the different fonts. So I'm going to choose View All. That's interesting. So I haven't clicked View All before. It looks like we actually have like... just a number of preset fonts. So I was kind of hoping to see all my Adobe fonts come out of here, but no such luck. I'm going to use Warnock. Actually, Warnock with this variant might look really good. Yeah, that's super. Look at that. It looks more like springtime, you know? It looks like plants more than, and absinthe is plants, right? But it looks like living, growing plants, which is kind of cool. Speaking of plants, I have, last year I planted rhubarb at my home, and I guess that must have been mid-April that I planted it. And it grew really big and crazy, like all last summer into the fall. But with rhubarb, you can't, you're not supposed to harvest any of it the first year. And you're supposed to be very conservative in harvesting it the second year. Ooh, look at that. Smoky fog. Let's get smoky. This is fun. Oh, look at that. Pretty neat. So yeah, rhubarb, right? Actually, rhubarb would be a cool one to do here. Let's actually, let's submit this to the gallery. So, the team reviews all submissions. They're probably going to say, no way, Joseph. You can't talk about absinthe. We're not going to put that on our gallery. But hey, you know, whatever. There we go. Submitted to the gallery for rejection. I'm going to download it as well. Now, this is kind of a neat aspect to it, transparency in AI. So it actually, my understanding is it's encoding different metadata credentials inside of the file when you download it. We don't need to see that again. And there we go. It's tagged up and pulled down as a transparent ping file. Thank you, Adobe Firefly. All right. Let's do rhubarb, since we've been talking about it so much. Oh yeah, but I was gonna say my rhubarb is actually, it's been coming up for a while now, and I've been afraid that it's going to die because you know, it's still kind of cold sometimes. I mean, we just got snow yesterday, so let's change the prompt here. Thick, lively rhubarb stalks and leaves, pink and green. Generates. Yeah, but this is, you know, it's, oh, look at that. That's very fun. Oh, I spelled rhubarb wrong, didn't I? You know what's funny? So in my Creative Cloud Classroom notebook, I think there's an image above my head. Yes. So that came out last year in November, I think. So it's still pretty new. But when I did the chapter on InDesign, I completely spelled rhubarb wrong in all of my screenshots. And I had to redo all the screenshots. I got bounced back by editorial. They're like, hey, you spelled rhubarb wrong like everywhere. And I'm like, well, of course I did. So I had to fix that. But it is fixed in the book. So. Actually, I heard back from my publisher over at Pearson about this book just this morning. We're talking about a couple different things, and she mentioned that my book, The Creative Cloud Classroom in a Book, has been adopted by a number of K through 12 schools in their curriculum. So that is very cool news. That is awesome. And I hope they like it. I'll have to get numbers at some point, but that's very good news. Well, that rhubarb's beautiful. This is going to be my backup, right? And maybe let's change the font. Let's make it loose. And let's make different font here. Nice. Thick. Thank you. Thank you, Myra. See, that's too loose. That's ridiculous. Let's just go tight, see how it looks tight. Yeah, part of me was like, should I do a stream on a beta product, you know? Because like I can't do like, you know, there's a bunch of like pre-release groups that myself and other people are in, and you can't really do, you're not allowed to talk about it, you know? But this is a public beta. And also, you know, I've seen a bunch of people already like posting content on this. So, you know, if they haven't been slapped by Adobe, I imagine I'm okay. We'll see. Maybe I will get slapped. That's okay. I'm used to it. I can deal with it. All right, let's keep this one. So I'm gonna submit this again. This is gonna be my backup for the Firefly gallery. Is my rhubarb. Let's download that too. I'll add that to my my Behance projects after we do this. All right, so that's text, right? So yeah, it's very fun to do. Very cool. Let's go back and we'll check out text to image. So text to image is, of course, you know, this is what most people think about, right? Most people think about these AI image generators as like just generating images like this. And so of course this is going to be made available at the outset. And so I don't know, Firefly is fast, right? That's one of the other things I really have found to be really nice about it. It's very, very fast. Where a lot of these things, it takes like forever to generate things. And then you want to like tweak things and change them a little bit. And it just takes a long time, and it kind of kills your, you know, it kills your vibe as you're going through trying to do stuff. Yeah, so Myra mentions, seen a bunch of people posting about it. Glad that I'm showing it. Yeah, it was good timing, and like I said, like, you know, last week in my stream, I don't know, I was feeling kind of bummed about a lot of stuff. I was very busy, and you know, some things in other programs weren't going so great in terms of Adobe programs, right? So, you know, I was just kind of bummed out. I was like, yeah, to hell with this, you know? I'm not going to do this anymore, at least for a while. I just need a break. But then they dropped Firefly. You know, I can keep on doing this. All right, so what do we want to generate? Notice right now it is English only. So let's see. Beautiful springtime rhubarb garden. Thick red stalks. And see, I did it again. You see that? Rhubarb. Yeah. I don't know why. It's like, it's something in here, you know? This is the same thing that happened when, I'm sure a number of you remember Adobe Edge Animate, right? So I was producing a lot of content around Edge Animate when that was a thing. And constantly capital A-N animate, right? Animate. Capital A-N all the time, and I had to go back and just keep fixing it. Now with Adobe Animate, I do the same darn thing. It's like capital A-N, and it's Edge Animate's fault. So, yeah. So beautiful springtime rhubarb garden. Let's put a comma in there. Thick stalks and wide green leaves. That's pretty descriptive, but once we hit generate and it comes out with something, it's going, and watch how fast this is. Like, look, generate, and it's gonna just pop right up here. Look at that. Woo! So by default, you'll notice that it actually applies the art style to everything at first. Very pretty. It looks like a forest of rhubarb. So anyway, this being my second year of growing rhubarb, right? I will be able to harvest this year. And I know a lot of people, make recipes out of rhubarb. I just, I eat it raw. So. Ooh, look at that. Hello, Gareth. How are you? Welcome to the stream this morning. Yeah, and that's how it works with a lot of these that I've found. Like the more descriptive you can be, the better. And that's where, right, so some of this stuff, this is more useful. I mean, I guess more useful is a bad way to say it. There are more options inside of here than there are with the tech stuff that we just saw. So we can change it to like landscape, widescreen, portrait. So switch it to landscape, and then it's gonna have a little more stuff on the side here. And so styles, right? You can go through, let's see, all. So different styles, movements, themes. There's so many different styles that you can choose from here. Let's choose painting. And let's change it to art. Once again, with painting, that's probably gonna make the most sense. Because we don't want a photographic painting. I mean, you could, Ooh, look at that. Super. And it's even got some like red veins inside of the leaves. That's kind of creepy. Oh, look at that. It's not even like a real rhubarb. These look more like rhubarb. But very good results, very fast. Which is super duper. Let's collapse these styles. Yeah, so then we get these things. These are always fun. I love playing with these in stable diffusion. So things like lighting, right? So color and tone, let's make it a nice warm tone. Vibrant color, let's go vibrant color. Lighting, we can do like golden hour, dramatic lighting, studio lighting. Let's go dramatic. Then composition. Yeah, let's blur the background out. So we can choose like shot from above, blurry background, generate. Let's go. See what comes of this. Yeah, it's done a pretty good job. Yeah, the background's blurred out for sure. Ooh, this one's nice. This one's kind of weird. Like it's blurred out this part like crazy, and then like over here, not so much. It's a little weird. Let's go back to this one. This one's very pretty. So I'm gonna say, show me similar results to this. So it's gonna regenerate the others and keep this one. So this is a way you can sort of like fine tune things. It's like, that one's cool. Let's see more based on that. And honestly, I think this is like people who are very negative about this kind of technology and this way of creating visuals. I don't think that they quite understand that there is a human influence on it, right? So it's like the human influence paired with what the machine is doing and working together to create something. Because I can just keep on refining these things as much as I want. I can change the text and so forth. Oh, this blurred out the foreground too. This one's very pretty. I'm gonna keep this. Let's go ahead and let's not submit this one. We don't need to submit it, but I will download it to save for later. So yeah, very flexible. So one thing that that I do with Stable Diffusion, with Stable Diffusion, I use a local installable version of Stable Diffusion called Diffusion B. So it's kind of like a UI wrapper that gets installed. And the nice thing about it is it runs completely on your system, So whereas Firefly is something that exists out, right, as a service on the web, in the cloud, right? It's cloud-based AI. With Diffusion B, it all lives on your system. So because of that, you can do certain things that you can't do that aren't quite allowed in other places. you get sort of more flexibility. But this is fun. Let's just change this completely. Let's say, here, haunted railroad at night, bathed in blue moonlight. Vibrant color. Well, that's probably, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're keeping the same, oh, yeah, look at that. Damn. Would you look at that, you know? Come on. So one thing, I teach a class on user experience design and user interface design, right? And I have been encouraging for the past 2 semesters my students to use things like Crayon, things like Midjourney and so forth, Stable Diffusion, to perform ideation tasks. So being able to, you know, just get ideas for things based on different prompts, especially when it comes to, you know, ideas for logos and things like that, ideas for colors that they might want to use. Let's refine this. So I'm going to take, I don't know, it looks pretty good with the vibrant color, doesn't it? Let's remove blurry. Well, I don't know. That looks pretty good. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, gosh. Bless me. So I'm going to see here, what can we do to make this a bit more spooky? Let's just add the word melancholic. See what we get. That didn't change too much, did it? Yeah, pretty fun though. Instead of a painting, let's change out the style. Let's do, I don't even know, like what the heck is vaporware, right? Let's do it. Let's click on that one. Remove painting. Let's check out what vaporware does. I mean, my understanding of vaporware is software that people write that never gets released, right? Interesting. Look at that mess. All right. Vaporware, not so great. We could do steampunk. That might be fun. Yeah, and of course, you know, we could do this all day long, right? Oh gosh, look at this one. What? It's got a face. That's pretty cool. Let's go share that. Submit to the gallery. Let's download it as well. That's a cool one. I like it. Yay. Impressive. Impressive, guys. Nice work. And I have to see Baroque. Doesn't look very Baroque. That looks very much the same. Oh, look at this one. It's all like gnarly up here. Look at that. That's pretty neat too. So those are cool, but I want to go to my old standard. This is the one I use for everything when I'm trying stuff out. It is kittens eating French fries and drinking wine. I always like to see how they handle this one. Let's keep all the prompts as they are and generate. Let's see our little kittens. There we go. Yes. So, that is adorable. Look at how he's holding his little wine glass. And it looks like they've got two types of French fries here. They've got like a thicker cut fry, and then they have like a fast food kind of cut. Well, this one's getting downloaded. I absolutely love this prompt. I use it for everything, and it's so funny. Like if you're bored some afternoon, just type in like kittens eating French fries and drinking wine, and you get all sorts of stuff. I've got this one where like, gosh, I think it was crayon, or it might have been Stable Diffusion, but it rendered a glass of white wine with a French fry inside of the glass of wine. It was crazy. Look at these. They're so like, whoa. They've got like little pails of French fries. Look at that tiny little glass. Oh yeah, the background. Let's try to influence that, right? In a Paris cafe at night. I use at night probably a little more than I should. But do we want Baroque? It's fine. Okay. So maybe this will change the background out a bit. Actually, it looked a little bit like that in the first place, I suppose. Oh, wow. So what do we got? We got the 3 kitten triplets here. Look at those fries, look really good. I should grow potatoes. Oh, here we go. We get some white wine there. Oh yeah, check that out. So it looks like yeah. Looks like a Paris outdoor cafe. Got the lights and everything. Lots of books. Oh, look at this guy. He's like, Rrr. He's talking about French fries and wine and fish. This one too. Yeah, these are so, it's just like so great. This guy, he looks all, I mean, they're both sort of like, you know what this looks like? It looks like, you know, if you just like tell somebody like that you want to take their photo and they're just like, you know, they just like stare, stop what they're doing. That's one of the things I used to hate. So when I was in undergraduate studies, I took a lot of photography classes, and that was always the hardest thing to do, because sometimes they would want to, you know, they would want you to go out and take photos of people, and it's a very hard thing to go up to strangers and be like, hey, I want to take your photo. Or, you know, if you don't ask them and you're just taking their photos to be more in the moment, right, and not staged, then they get creeped out because they're like, why is that creepy guy taking photos of me, you know? So it's a hard thing. They can't win at any of that. So I'm glad I don't have to do that. I never enjoyed those assignments. Let's see. Let's do one more thing, and then we'll call it. I have office hours coming up in about 15 minutes. All right. Final office hours before spring break. Fun. And I know there's a number of students who are stopping by for various things, so it might be a long one. All right. So what do I want to do for this last bit? How about a angelic cherub with a camera around his neck? What's the location? Actually, I hope this doesn't render anything with nudity. If I ask for it, well, if I ask for a cherub, I mean, right? It's probably safe, right? Disclaimer: if anything shows up that's weird, it's Firefly's fault, not mine. Angelic cherub with a camera around his neck, walking through the graveyard. Baroque. Let's change the lighting. Let's do backlighting. That might be interesting. Composition. Wide angle. Color and tone. Let's do a cool tone. And generate. Cross my fingers that Firefly behaves itself, right? Haha, yay, no nudity. We did it. Look at this, this is amazing. Look at that. He's actually got a little camera walking around the graveyard. It's interesting that they made him look like a little statue, though. I wonder if we can say, like, lifelike. Lifelike. No, like. Firefly, don't take that to be okay for nudity. Thank you. Well, he's still pretty... Oh, God. That second one looks sad. Look at that. He's a sad little cherub. I think this one's probably my favorite. Because he's sitting on a stone. And he's like... He's tweaking all his settings for the camera, for the exposure and everything. Doesn't know how to use it. Myra says. Yeah. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. How do you use this thing again? Yeah. Nope, this one's gonna stick. Download. And I'm gonna share this one too. This one's safe for the Firefly gallery. Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why all of them have their eyes closed, right? It's like, what are you guys doing? So one thing I do wish that this had that I think almost every other image generator has, right, is the ability to upscale. And I'm not seeing this. Maybe I'm missing it, but I have not found any way to actually upscale the images that are generated yet. So maybe that's something they're just kind of working on, but anyway. All right, cool. Well, that's going to be it for today, everyone. It's like I said, I do have office hours coming up here in must be about 10 minutes now, right? So yeah, oh, I've got a good amount of people watching. Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Gareth and Myra, for chiming in and being part of the conversation. It's always better than what we do otherwise, because else I'm just talking to myself, which is pretty boring. So Gareth says, if you click on the 3 dots at the top right of an image, you can set that image to be a reference image. So like if I copied a clipboard, we got these wavy lines here, that just regenerates, right? Well, I do have to go anyway, but thank you. I will keep that in mind as I go through and experiment more. What is this? Oh, when it's a small image. Oh, look at that. Yep. I hadn't seen that before, I don't think. Use as a reference image. So, like, this one's pretty. Let's use that as a reference image and see what happens. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. Reference images will be used to influence future generation. Update the prompt to see new results. That's cool. So closer to the reference image, closer to the prompt. So we can get squishy with it. Oh, cool. Look at these. These are pretty good, actually. This one's kind of nice. grab this one too. All right, I think I've got enough little cherub photographers for now. Cool. All right, thanks again, everyone. And I think I'm streaming next week. I'm on spring break, but I don't know. I have to record for LinkedIn Learning next week. So, I don't know. I don't have my schedule quite planned out yet. Anyway, thank you. And everybody stay safe until I see you all again. Thanks.
This crippling reverie. From thee, I find myself